What we want is an ethic that provides some defeasible conditions, a baseline, moral baseline for conduct of the way we should do things. And then we can judge our actions based on what we should do, rather than looking at the actions we do and then justifying them after the fact. So ideally, that's what the PME could do. Another challenge, as we think about this overarching thing, the professional military ethic, is, and it relates back to my last point, is whether it's a transactional ethic or whether it's transformational, right? If it were transactional, it would be, hey, here's all these things we do, and now we're going to come up with an ethic that says they're okay, they're all right. We don't want to do that. In many ways, it's going to be transformational. Transformational being that it's leading the Army somewhere. And this can be a little bit of a scary thing, right? If we say, hey, we're trying to lead the Army somewhere, and it has to do with morality and ethical reasoning and things like that, but it really isn't anything new. We're not trying to do anything new. We're not inventing some new moral doctrine or anything like that. It's based on things we already have. It's just properly articulating and understanding those things. So I think that's important to understand as well. And then with the Powell and the Petraeus doctrine, I think as we talk about these, if we're going to frame it in these terms, I think it's first important to say what those things aren't, right? Let's set aside sort of the cartoonish versions of the Powell doctrine and the Petraeus doctrine. I think the cartoonish version of the Powell doctrine that we often use in the military is this idea that we'll always use overwhelming force, right? And so what in the world does overwhelming force mean, right? I think it doesn't mean that, you know, to kill them all and let God sort them out sort of thing, even though the cartoonish version sort of thinks that, right? So I think we need to set that to the side and say, well, it's not that. And the cartoonish version of the Petraeus doctrine would be something that, well, we're just going to pass out soccer balls to everybody and then hope for the best, right? And that's not what the Petraeus doctrine is at all. So I would say that the Powell doctrine and the Petraeus doctrine both have the same underlying moral principles. They're just both pointed towards different ends, and that the Powell doctrine is more focused for an end on a traditional self-defense paradigm of what the military does, whereas the Petraeus doctrine might be something focused more on expanding the scope of what we use the military for.